Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Classic Movie Rewind. How's everybody doing tonight? Or day? It's night right now. You might be listening at 2 in the morning. If so, thank you for including us on your morning commute. I don't know why you would, but, don't get in a crash from laughing so hard at our very unfunny jokes.
Great intro.
How you doing, Siobhan?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Finally getting around to recording this. We have been a week for both of us, but we are talking about Jurassic Park today.
Dun dun dun. Just to say dun 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 dun.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. So I feel like we do a little synopsis. I don't even think we need to do one for this movie, but feel free to go give a brief spiel.
All right. So it starts off with a lawsuit, as lots of movies seem to start out with lawsuits. I'm realizing this because when there needs to be an inciting event, people apparently think that lawsuits are exciting events. So there you go. So a guy dies trying to get this new theme park off the ground. We don't get to see what actually the theme park's about, but we all know what's going on. I mean, the title of the movie is Jurassic Park. There's a dinosaur there. It's a dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur.
So then the lawyer for the shareholders, I think I'm getting this right. Siobhan, correct me if I'm wrong because you know more about this corporate mess than I do.
The investors of sorts, yeah.
Yeah. The lawyer comes, it's called due diligence is what he's doing. They don't say that in the movie, but, a little peek inside of the legal world. That's basically what he's doing.
Never in a million years, if somebody asked me to describe Jurassic Park, would I have started with, it starts with a lawsuit and then got never in a million years would I have started. It's just interesting that's where you went. I would have been like, there's a theme park about dinosaurs and interesting.
I just thought it was so funny that it started with a lawsuit. It just struck me like, oh my God. Anyway, theme park. So lawyers, investors, all that, they want real scientists to come out and evaluate the park's, I don't know, not viability maybe, or responsibility, or just whether or not it's a good idea or not. I don't know.
Yep.
So they get Dr. Grant, who's the paleontologist, and they get Dr. what is her name? I forget her name.
Is Sadler? Sandler? Sattler.
Sattler. I don't like that name. No, it's not easy to remember. We get Dr. Sattler, who's a
botanist.
Botanist, yeah, that's the word. I couldn't think of the word for plants. And they get Ian Malcolm, who is a mathematician. I don't understand why they got a chaos theory guy, but okay, whatever. Sure.
Yeah, that never made sense to me either, but
sure.
Whatever.
He doesn't know much about dinosaurs, but he knows about chaos theory. Whatever. They get to the park and it goes horribly wrong, just terribly wrong, and people die. And they decide not to open the park because, people die. That's a bad idea. Did I get the gist of it?
Yeah, I feel like I would have said they want to open a zoo with dinosaurs.
That's basically what it is, yeah.
Yeah, and then the dinosaurs get out.
We know what it is.
Yeah, people
know this movie. If you haven't seen this
people
movie,
get it.
Where have you been? Even if you haven't seen the movie, you know what the movie's about.
Well, there's also 8 of them now at this. I guess there'll be 6, but.
Oh, there's 8? No.
No, there's 6. Or there will be 6.
Yeah, you're right. I'm miscounting. I just was taking your word for it. There's totally three trilogies. What are you talking about?
There's a lot. I guarantee you there will be at some point.
Let me tell you what I did not I guess I should have realized this from the moment I saw it. Well, maybe not the moment I saw it because young and stupid then. But I never appreciated the fact that this is just essentially Frankenstein with dinosaurs.
You mean in terms of piecing together the genetic code and stuff?
I'm talking about in terms of the themes of the book of scientists playing God and creating life and the monsters coming and pretty much screwing them over, coming after them.
Yeah.
It ended up being very bad for the scientists. So essentially, this is Frankenstein with dinosaurs. Mary Shelley definitely envisioned this when she wrote the book, I'm sure.
Yeah. So one thing, this is completely unrelated to that point. One thing I never understood is what the relationship is between the two main characters, between Laura Dern and the other guy. So Grant and Sattler. I've never understood what their relationship was. Are they in a romantic relationship?
No, they're in a relationship. They say in the movie. It's very passing, but when Grant and Malcolm are in the car together and they're talking about her,
yeah,
and he's like, "Are y'all in a?" And he's like, "Yeah." Maybe.
Yeah, but but he says it in a weird way that suggests that he just doesn't want Malcolm to be with her. Like, he doesn't say it. The look on his face is very like, yeah, we are, so don't mess with her. But it's still like not 100% clear to me whether or not they're actually in a relationship or if he was just trying to be like hands off buddy.
Don't we see them together in like the third movie, like married in a house together? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, I think, again, it's unclear. I want to say it's unclear in the third one, but it's been a while since I've actually seen it, whether the kids in that movie, like the kid that she's taking care of at the house, is their kid together. But it's just, like, if you just take this movie by itself, it's not 100% clear that the two of them are together.
I thought it was pretty clear. But not like, not explicitly clear, but like.
Aside from the conversation in the car that I find somewhat fuzzy, there's no, I mean, it's clear that they're friends and they work together, but it's just kind of like, there's no, I guess at one point she asked him if he wants kids, which isn't a question you typically ask just like random people you work with, but.
That's probably what clued me, what got me thinking it. I don't know, I guess there's just like this chemistry there that you see on the screen, you're like, oh yeah.
It's just interesting because there's no like physical manifestation of the romantic relationship in the movie.
I appreciate that. I'm like, you don't have to have a romance line with like dinosaurs. Like, we get it.
But every other Jurassic Park does. Usually in every other Jurassic Park movie, there's a couple that's either getting divorced or they're like splitting up, and the dinosaur tragedy brings them together. It happens in every other one.
All other movies are worse than this movie.
Well, that's because this is the original. I think Jurassic World is very, very good.
I like Jurassic World. I did like it. I don't particularly like the whole like. I feel like it's a very common trope to make the military the bad guys, and they want this for like military purposes. And so I'm like, I'm pretty sure the military is not going to want a bunch of raptors for the military. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think they'll think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
We got lots of bombs. We don't need dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's not this movie. There's no military in this movie. I have a question.
Okay.
So you know how they got the DNA for the dinosaurs?
Yes.
With the very suspect mosquitoes in the amber, and they drilled a little hole and they extracted their dinosaur DNA, and it's a dinosaur.
Right.
That's how it happened. How did they get the plant DNA? Like the plants that don't exist. How'd they get that?
I don't know.
They never explained that very well.
I feel like they're banking on the dinosaurs and hoping people won't worry about the plants.
Well,
which has always made me feel sad for Laura Dern's character, because she's like, I'm a plant doctor, and like nobody cares about your stupid plant doctor expertise.
There's a dinosaur right there.
Right, there's like all these dinosaurs, and she's like, these plants are extinct. This is crazy. Everyone's like, woman, no. Like,
to be fair, she got the dinosaurs first. She saw the plants first, and she's like, this shouldn't exist. What's going on? Because that's like, her thing. She's like looking at it, and somebody has to turn her head, like, hey, no, look at the dinosaur.
It's like, you are missing the point, sweetheart.
Big thing over there.
Mm-hmm.
Big thing over there.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that. I didn't realize that in this movie they did mention that there's a theory that dinosaurs had feathers and were more bird-like.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the prevailing theory now. I think they just change it every so often just to make sure we're paying attention to the dinosaur world.
Right. Well, you got to stay relevant somehow.
Like, hey, look. T-Rex is basically a giant chicken.
I mean, you study something that went extinct, like millions of years ago? So, gotta spice things up every once in a while. I will say
this movie is actually... Oh, go ahead.
The science behind it, though, like, yeah, it's not like the most believable thing, but they came up with something that's plausible. I mean, I don't know enough about science to know whether it's actually plausible, but for somebody who knows nothing about science, they came up with like a pretty interesting situation. Like, my understanding, and I don't read books, but is that Michael Crichton, all of his books are extremely well researched and like theoretically possible. Probably not actually possible, but theoretically possible. Like, they weren't like, and we found a dinosaur sitting around. It took some creativity and thought to actually think about mosquitoes being preserved and all that.
It's passable if you don't think about it too much. Like, DNA degrades far quicker than you would realize. I know this from all the true crime shows that I listen to. It has nothing to do with my own knowledge of DNA. I could be completely wrong, but DNA is not that durable to last millions and millions of years, even encased in amber inside a mosquito.
It's a nifty idea. I also didn't know that's what amber was until I saw this movie.
It's not. I'm pretty sure that's just what they call, because amber's a stone, right?
It could very well be like calcified tree sap.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like an actual.
Amber is fossilized tree resin, according to the internet.
Really?
We all know that the internet can't lie. It makes sense.
Wow.
It's just calcified or fossilized, which I don't know if that's the same thing or
I
not.
just thought they just
Probably
called
not.
it amber because it looked like amber. I didn't think it was
No.
actually what amber was.
No,
I
I
just
guess it's
learned
not like an
something.
actual stone.
I just
See
learned something.
that?
Look at
Yeah.
that.
Makes sense.
I mean, why would they call it that if it wasn't really amber? Also, did you catch when they were explaining all of this in the little ride in the movie, and they switched to like the lab view, and the lawyer said, "Oh, is this all what you call it, autoerotica?" And I'm like,
Yes,
"What?"
yes.
But did you just say in this family-friendly movie?
Yes, and I didn't catch it until this because I've obviously seen this movie many times, and I caught it this time. I'd never caught it before. I wouldn't be surprised if like the actor just said the wrong word or something. Like it was that out of place and odd that I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like a slip of the tongue that they kept in there.
But I don't know. You didn't like. Nope. I didn't catch it until I watched it this time, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
did you say?
Yeah.
Also, why was he wearing shorts and a jacket? That's stupid.
Yeah, the other thing that this movie tipped me off to was that suits were atrocious in the 90s. The
Well,
male suit has just undergone a renaissance, if you will. Because like
I feel like some of them were worn better. Like I feel like you could like if you got a good looking guy in a well cut suit. I don't
not
think
in
this
the
guy's suit was well cut.
even
Also, he
Richard
was
Gere
wearing
in Pretty
shorts with it.
Woman, like the suits, they're not as well fit, and there's like pleated pants involved, and it's like a whole thing. I don't
That's
think
true. The 90s was the big suit vibe.
I don't know who's responsible. Maybe it's Armani or something, or like Ralph Lauren. I don't know who's responsible, but
We should
whoever
write
they
a
are,
strongly worded letter to Armani. See what
right,
happens.
should be much like I don't understand why this isn't getting
You
more
should
attention.
be ashamed of yourself for your 90s suits.
I'm just
Thank you for
saying.
correcting them in today's world.
An absolute renaissance that we're just overlooking for some reason.
I feel like women's suits have gotten better, a lot better too. I feel like they've been more tailored to be women's suits.
Yeah, the idea of a woman's suit, like I get it, but it's
I hate
also
women's
just
suits.
there's
I hate
so many
suits.
other ways that you can look professional, and I've said this to you a million times before. Like a man can wear a suit in so many different circumstances. He can wear a suit to a wedding, to a funeral, to a graduation, to church, to work, all of these things. A woman can wear a suit in a business context, and that's it.
Yeah, it's
Like
not really fair.
well, and I'm not saying that I want to. I'm just saying like it's not like I can wear a suit to church. I can't wear a suit to a graduation. I'm gonna look ridiculous.
Well, you could. You just look weird. Like,
That's
are
what I
you
mean. Like I look
giving a
ridiculous.
speech?
Right. So it's just odd to me that like we pretend like women need to wear suits in a business context when they don't wear them any other time. Like just let them wear something that looks professional. But
I do have some really
digression.
pretty suits that aren't like I'd wear them in a professional setting, but I don't know if they're actually quote unquote professional. Like I have this pretty wine colored one with these flowy type pants. Super cute. I don't know if I'd wear it in a courtroom, but I'd wear it to deposition.
That's the thing. It's just kind of like why are we if we can get away with not wearing suits in every other context in which men wear suits, why are we wearing suits? But
Well, I just don't wear suits very often unless I'm going in for an interview.
that's my point, because you can't. Because there's no circumstance in which you would.
Cute dress and a jacket if I need to be professional. Like they come in multicolors. You can be cute.
Yep.
That's a digression.
I digress.
But seriously, you should never wear like a full-on suit jacket and tie with shorts. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Bad enough that you like made the lawyer the coward and the guy who's like all gung ho for the park, even though like he should be the one saying, hey, yeah, this could be leave us open for like huge liability, seeing that somebody already died from these dinosaurs and somebody is already suing us over that death. I don't think the lawyer would be all like, oh, we're gonna be so rich.
Well, they just painted the lawyer in a very stereotypical light of
true.
Money hungry.
I have problems with the way that pop culture sometimes portrays lawyers. I get it, but
I get it.
it's wrong.
Yeah, I get it.
For the most part, there are some of us that are like, okay.
There's some really nice lawyers. There's also some really, I see both sides of it.
Yeah, most people are that way. Most professions have your good ones and your bad ones. Doctors are never portrayed that way. They're all saints, and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't watch enough. I made there's probably like a villain on ER or something if we're staying with the 90s theme. I don't know. I've never watched Grey's Anatomy or anything like that, so I don't know. But I assume there's like some like super cocky doctor in those movies.
Well, that's House.
But I don't know.
That's really House.
Yeah, but he's still painted as a good guy though. Like, yeah, he's like rough around the edges, but he gets away with it because he's so brilliant.
Yeah, he's just quirky.
Yeah.
Anyway, dinosaurs. Yeah, I saw was.
I will say for a movie that came out, 1993, so almost 20 years ago, not 20, oh my gosh, 30 years ago.
Oh God, you're
Um,
old.
the graphics and the like special effects are pretty darn good. I will say in the very beginning when they see the first dinosaur, it looks a little fake, but all of the T-Rex stuff
It
and
looks
like
really
the
good. Yeah, it
raptor
holds
stuff
up.
look really good. It's
I
pretty
think it helps
amazing.
that those shots weren't like broad daylight. I think
Yeah.
that the night scenes kind of helped with that. But yeah, they held up pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know how they did. Like, I assume it's the equivalent of whatever CGI was. Like, and the
I
fact that
think
it
they
was
used a
30
lot of
years ago.
practical effects.
Yeah, I know some of the dinosaurs were just like animatronics, or as they would say in the movie, animerotics, or
Autoerotic.
whatever you called it, autoerotic. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Going back to the shorts. I'm
Whose
sorry.
shorts are you talking about?
I really noticed the shorts, but now I was talking about the lawyer shorts before, but now I want to talk about the I don't know what his like the dinosaur wranglers, Crocodile Dundee shorts.
Okay, yeah.
They were very short.
They were, so it's kind of like the current trend with guys' bathing suits where they're just like oddly short for no reason whatsoever.
Nah, I
Yeah.
don't need to see that much leg on a dude. Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like he was just really proud of his quads and wanted to showcase them to the world. And I will say I
mean,
noticed his quads, so it worked. 30 years later, we're talking about his quad, so.
he was not wrong to be proud of them, but
Yep.
I feel like no man should wear shorts that high. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the male thigh that's just not as intriguing. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't particularly find the female thigh intriguing either, but maybe we just see it more often.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like this is just how it is these days, but it is something that you notice when a guy is wearing shorts that are too short.
I think that was a thing in the 90s. I guess it's come back now. I just haven't been paying attention. I haven't been to the beach lately.
I also feel like a lot of guys have skinny legs and wearing shorter shorts just showcases that, and it just looks weird because a lot of guys are like top heavy, they work out up top but not on the bottom, and so they just look disproportionate maybe.
Maybe they have a lot of leg days and they're really proud of that.
Just hypothesizing.
Oh, speaking of things that held up, the technology, like the computer technology and stuff they were talking about, did not hold up.
That's true.
When they show the little girl searching the file cabinets and she's like actually like dragging the mouse on through file cabinets on the computer, I'm like, what the heck is going on? That's not out. What?
Again, the movie is so well done that you forget it was 30 years ago until you see a scene like that and you're like, oh, that's right.
Yeah. It's an old movie.
I looked her up because I couldn't remember anything else she was in. Apparently she's like quit acting pretty soon after the movie.
She was traumatized just like her character.
I guess so. She did a good
Those
job.
poor kids.
Yeah.
Wanted to have a fun vacation with their grandpa.
That's rough. It is interesting that before everything goes bad, they didn't realize that having dinosaurs in like a very large enclosure meant that you probably wouldn't see them.
Yeah, it's just like when you go to the zoo and the tiger won't come out of his damn cage.
Right, except the cage is so much bigger. It's like, how did you not think of that?
You didn't think this through, did you?
Right, and there's like all of this tree cover, so like it's not like it's just this open field. There's like all of these trees, so you're never actually going to see the dinosaur. It makes no sense.
Yeah, trust us. There's a dinosaur in there.
Really?
Where? It's in there. They could have saved so much more money if they just said, yeah, there's a dinosaur in there, and just not have a dinosaur in there.
The other thing that this makes me think of is like, not to say that this would be a good idea if we had the technology, but it's not crazy different than like having a tiger in a cage. Like, yeah, it's more destructive if it gets out, like the magnitude is higher, but we have tigers in cages, which is probably a bad idea. And like people die every once in a while and they get out every once in a while and somebody falls in every once in a while and it's sad and it's a tragedy and all of that. But like it happens. Like we just accept that it happens. So it's just interesting that it's essentially the same concept, higher risk profile, but it's a pretty darn similar concept. Like we already do this with pretty dangerous animals.
Like you could probably take a tiger out with like a handgun and you need a little something heavier for a T-Rex.
Yeah. So that's the other thing.
A raptor.
About these movies is that they always just like have these rifles or shotguns or what I assume they're rifles. In all of the movies, they just carry around these guns like as if that's going to do anything. I guess it may be for the smaller animals, but it seems to me that if you have a T-Rex running at you, shooting them with a rifle is only going to do but so much good.
I feel like they'd eventually like kill them. Like if you hit the right spot,
But you've so in Jurassic World, there's a scene where like one of the military-ish guys, like the whatever the Frankenstein type doctor or dinosaur is like running at him and he's shooting him as the dinosaur's running at him and then the dinosaur just eats him because the bullets do nothing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe you should like get a missile launcher or something, like a grenade launcher or a bazooka or I don't know what
Right.
weapons. There's got to be
I
something
don't know.
bigger than like a automatic assault rifle we could use that have like bullets that are small. I don't know. Caliber is the word you use. I don't know gun terminology. I'm just making stuff up. All I know is like I learned from movies and documentaries about murder.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you want some type of weapon. It just seems like it's not going to do you a ton of good, but
Maybe a spear would help.
but the problem is a spear. I mean, you either need to
Just aim it right.
Yeah, but we learned from the last Jurassic Park, which is Jurassic World 2, the second Jurassic World, where she's trying to. So in Jurassic World 2, they're trying to do like a blood transfusion with the T-Rex. I realize that sounds weird out of context. But so she has this very, very large needle and she's got to stab the T-Rex to access the vein. And they talk about how incredibly thick the skin is and how hard she has to stab it. So it just seems like.
Are they trying to save the T-Rex life?
No. So they're
trying to kill the T-Rex. What?
No.
Who needs the T-Rex's blood?
Hold on. So there's one of the raptors gets shot and is bleeding out and they need to do a blood transfusion and the closest blood besides another raptor would be the T-Rex. T-Rex has got a lot of blood, so they take the blood from the T-Rex, give it to the raptor.
Okay, but I feel like those are completely different species though. That's not going to work. I don't even know if they live in the same era.
You got to suspend belief for at least a little bit. My point is that the skin is very thick apparently, according to movie number 5.
That's the design. Like, how do they know what a dinosaur skin is? It could be very thin for all we know.
I mean, look at a dinosaur. You know that's not thin skin.
I mean, you don't know. I mean, how thick is a giraffe skin?
But a giraffe.
They're
did
tall
you just
and
liken
big.
a giraffe to a T-Rex? That is not the same. It would be like saying.
They're the same height, probably.
The closest analog would probably be like an alligator. Like I bet an alligator has really thick skin.
That's not true because like a T-Rex is actually more akin to a bird than it is to a reptile.
But not in the movie. Like the actual skin that the dinosaur in the movie has is more akin to like I would think it would be like an alligator, like something with rougher, leatherier skin. I would think.
Okay. I don't know how thick an alligator skin is.
Neither do I, but it seems like it would be thick.
It's thin enough that people eat alligator, so.
Yeah, but you don't eat the skin.
I don't know.
You eat the meat.
You might.
The skin.
I really don't know.
They use the skin to make like purses and stuff. It's like leathery, I think. At least that's what the purses look like.
Yeah. I guess that's true. I don't know. But that's like to make the leather, you like have to cure it. So I don't know. We just gotta stop talking about skin. Because obviously neither of us know what we're talking about. We're just making shit up at this point.
Well, yeah. The other thing I don't like.
So are they, so it's fine.
But the inconsistency, again, it's not apparent in this movie, but it's apparent in the other movie. So in this movie, the T-Rex is chasing them and they're in a car. So they're probably going at least like minimum 30, maximum like 75 miles an hour in that car. And the T-Rex
in the movie, they do say that the T-Rex clocks in at about 35 miles, something like that. They actually gave us speed for a T-Rex.
Right. So, but my point is, okay, so the T-Rex can go, say it's 35 miles an hour.
Sure.
Now, in every other movie, especially like the most like Jurassic World, you have humans running on foot from T-Rexes, and the T-Rexes don't usually catch them. And it makes no sense. Because a human could run what, max 15 miles an hour, like absolute max, and that's like Olympic record ridiculousness.
It ain't
like there's no way that T-Rex ain't gonna catch you.
Well, maybe they genetically engineered the later T-Rexes to not run as fast.
Maybe
they're like, hey, we probably don't want these things running after us. We want to be able to run them, right?
Yes, because they've demonstrated such a good ability to affect genetics. They seem to get better at it, but still mess it up.
Can I just say something that seems obvious to me that apparently nobody who was running these parks thought of?
Mm-hmm.
Just make the herbivores. I think
it's just not as fun, but yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a Brachiosaurus and a Triceratops would be just as cool as a T-Rex for somebody to see, and without the danger.
Right. Yeah, especially if you're going from no dinosaur to dinosaur. It's not like you need the T-Rex right away. Yeah.
I think they'd be fine with that. Then there's plenty of herbivore dinosaurs you'd be like, yeah, these are the ones we chose to bring back because they're not going to eat us.
Right.
They might step on us, but they're not going to eat us.
Right, and you're not going to like lose it. It's not going to run away from you. It's not going to hide.
And if it does, it's a big thing that just eats plants.
Yeah.
Might wreck the like ecosystem, but it's not going to kill people.
Yeah.
I just would like to point out the obvious like workaround to make the park work, but nobody thought of that.
Nope, it's more fun to have the dinosaurs that eat you.
Well, heck, they made a new dinosaur that eats people in the Jurassic World, so what do I know?
Well, when you think about it, when you go to the zoo, I guess monkeys are fun to look at, but people like the tigers, they like the elephants, they like
elephants are going to eat you. An
elephant can kill you though. I mean, it's more dangerous than all the other ones, is my point.
Yeah, I mean, so could a like a huge brachiosaurus, but they're not probably just not on purpose.
Not as aggressive, yeah.
Not for fun. They're not hunters. They don't do that.
But the coolest animals at the zoo, I mean, like, it's cool seeing a tiger. You don't want to be too close, obviously, but it's pretty cool to see it just because you know that, like, you're never going to just stumble upon a tiger. Or hopefully
unless you live in Oklahoma near near Joe Exotic, you might.
Or I guess, like, Thailand, you can just, like, stumble upon a tiger, but...
Tigers.
Oh,
that makes me think of Tiger King.
I couldn't get through that show. Could not do it. It was interesting.
Hilarious.
There were too many snakes. I gave it 3 tries, and every time there was a snake, and I'm like, I've had enough. I remember asking you before I started. I said, "Are there any snakes in this?" And you said, "I don't know. I don't remember." And literally, the first 10 seconds, there is like a massive anaconda. Like it's like the first 10 seconds, and I don't know why.
To be fair, there's so much else going on in that movie that I couldn't focus on the snakes because
get it.
You got Joe and the tigers and Carol Baskin killing her husband, and then you got his country music videos, and you got him running for president against Trump and Hillary, and then you got this murder for hire plot with the guy coming up on a jet ski. It's just wild.
And then there's like this polygamous gay marriage situation. Like, there's a lot, but it was just, I was like, "Are you sure there are no snakes?" And you're like, "Yeah, there's no snakes." And then it was like, "Oh, there's a snake." It took like,
remember.
That whole sequence of events was like 3 minutes. But
sorry.
Another digression.
Not doing my duties as your friend, pointing out all the snakes in your life for you to avoid.
I wanted to just Google and see if there's a website that will tell you, because there've got to be other people in the world that are afraid of snakes, but by Googling that, you're just going to get a bunch of pictures of snakes. So
I'll Google it and see what happens.
There you go. That's a better idea.
Just forward you the website.
Yeah, and the website's just going to have a bunch of pictures of snakes on it. It's going to be like, "Yep, here it is, here it is, here it is."
Yeah, probably.
What else we got on Jurassic World?
No snakes in Jurassic World, I don't think. Or Jurassic Park.
There's one snake in Jurassic World. Not in Jurassic Park, though. In Jurassic World, towards the end, when they run back inside and like confront the raptors and they're like in the lab, there's a snake. There's like a small yellow. Trust me, you want to know if there's a snake in a movie, I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly when and where and what it looks like.
Down to the second.
I can tell you that.
Right.
Refill time.
Like, I'm contributing all our wine sounds. You're not pulling your weight on that end.
I haven't gotten through my first glass yet, so
I've got more practice than you do.
Me too.
You also usually tend to drink the sweeter wines, and I don't like the sweet wines.
That's true. That is true. It's harder to drink a lot of sweet wine.
Yeah, they go to your head too much.
Yep. Jurassic Park.
Oh, did you get the seatbelt foreshadowing that they did about the dinosaurs? Did you catch that?
The part where like she can't get the seatbelt on, so they just tie it?
Yeah, because he has 2 female like connections. And they don't work.
And then they tie it and it works.
They tie it because, you find a way. And the dinosaurs.
I didn't pick up on that, but I see what you're saying.
A website pointed that out. I cannot take credit for that.
I was going to say, that is pretty darn good. I was extremely impressed for a second there. So that's the thing that I take issue with. I understand the concept of like over time things will evolve and find a way to survive, but it wouldn't happen that quickly. It's not like you would have all of a sudden create the dinosaurs and I realize that there's like this genetic reptilian, you can change your sex or whatever, but they made it sound like over time they would evolve to be able to procreate, and it seems like that happened.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That usually don't happen.
But it just seems like even if that was something that happened in like the course of evolution, it wouldn't happen in like a year. Like the dinosaurs are like, we're dying, let's just evolve. Like that wouldn't happen.
Probably not. Probably not. Also, there was a lot of talk about like the dinosaurs' instincts, but would they even have those instincts given how like pieced together from different strands of DNA they were, and the fact that they were raised in captivity for their entire lives? Why would they why would the T-Rex have the need to hunt?
Right.
He's never had to before. It's like when you domesticate a tiger in like a zoo, like, and then set him free in the wild. He's probably gonna die because he didn't know how to hunt.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What do I know though?
It
I'm just
all
a
makes
lawyer.
like it
I'm
makes
powering
sense.
the bathroom with the toilet apparently.
What did you say? Oh, I was like, what is she talking about? So I get where he was going there, though. You know, it is funny though, where so the T-Rex gets out of the little cage, it's going after the kids, and so Dr. Grant is like, I know everything about the T-Rex. I know he can't see me if I don't move, so I'm gonna flash this flare around, throw it, and he'll follow the flare because he can't see me if I stand still. And then Malcolm is like, oh, but he like doesn't know that the T-Rex can only not see you if you don't move, and he just
Also,
like screws the whole thing up. It's like, bro, what are you doing?
Also, but like, how the hell would you like? Because that fact has been plainly disproven, I think, or maybe not. I don't know. But how would you know what a T-Rex's eyeball is like when we don't have a T-Rex eyeball to examine?
I couldn't tell. I don't necessarily think it's an eyeball thing. I think it's like a brain.
No, it's the shape of the corneas or whatever. That's what the theory was.
Yeah, I don't know.
What I don't know where like I said, I think paleontologists make stuff up sometimes, and
because they can't disprove it, so
they change it every so often. And people are like, sure, yeah, let's go with that. Dinosaurs are cool. Talk to me more about dinosaurs.
Well, no, like there's no way to really prove it wrong unless somebody comes out, like they could be like every dinosaur had 15 toes, and you'd be like, that's cool. Like,
that's fun to know. That's fun to know.
I mean, they could do that about
fight you on it.
Like you'd be like, Pluto has 57 moons, and I'd be like, okay.
Good for Pluto. Although Pluto is not a planet anymore, so my mother never served us 9 pizzas anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what people do with that phrase anymore.
Probably just say nachos, I think.
Ooh, I've always tried to find a food that started with N when I thought about that, and never could. That's a good one. I like nachos. Not only in that phrase, but just generally.
Yeah, they're good. They're good foods. Good food.
In case you were wondering, Pluto has 5 moons, apparently.
Really? Did not know that.
Apparently.
Did not know that. Are they still called moons if Pluto's not a planet?
According to the internet and NASA.gov, which is like legit internet, it says Pluto's moons. So
that's disrespectful to the moons to say that you're a moon, but you don't really have a planet.
Wikipedia calls it a dwarf planet, which is still a planet. I realize that people are like, it's not a planet, but
that's
like,
just an insulting way to call you a planet. Yeah, you're a dwarf planet.
Yeah, but if you're gonna call it a dwarf planet, then it's still a planet. So why are we saying it's not a planet?
I don't know.
Craziness.
They keep changing things on us.
We do.
Like stuff we learned in elementary school should not change as much as it has.
So, but aside from Pluto, what else has changed?
Dinosaurs don't have feathers. They look like chickens, apparently.
Yeah.
I learned that in elementary school, and apparently that's wrong. And all the names, because I learned about like Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus. I don't think those are actual dinosaurs now. I think they're all Brachiosauruses. I don't know, but
you say something and then you just follow it up with I don't know. It's like you're like disclaiming your own statement. You're like, they were purple, I don't know, but maybe they were like blue, but I don't know, but maybe it's like a disclaimer. It's like, please do not trust anything I'm saying. But I'm gonna tell you what I think anyway.
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
Sometimes I'm like, if I've researched it and I have an answer, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But if I haven't, I'm like, well, I don't know. Don't listen to me. Take my meds a little bit. Yeah. Nobody's gonna sue me for telling you the wrong thing.
That's true.
Your Honor, I said I don't know after the end. I don't know why I should do it as a statement of fact.
Yeah, Anna.
Obvious.
Yeah, Anna. Yeah, Anna.
Let me tell you, she was stupid for doing it in the first place. I don't know why she asked me. I'm not an expert in dinosaurs. We did a unit on dinosaurs in my gifted class in elementary school.
Yeah, we did a dinosaur thing at some point. It's an odd thing that, like, I get that it's cool and kids like to learn about dinosaurs, but of all the things, like, you only get so many years of schooling, and it seems like dinosaurs get covered a lot, like in most situations. It's just interesting, but that's something that makes the cut every time.
Yeah, kids like dinosaurs.
Yeah,
I get it.
I
Our
get it
teacher
too,
had
but
us
it's
make
useless.
our teacher had us made up our own dinosaurs, and I made up a Pinkosaurus because I
Think
was
about
really
what
into
you
the.
just said though. Like this is why we're falling behind in math and science. I
Okay,
mean,
but
I
to
guess
be
it's
fair,
science, but
this was not in regular class. This was in the gifted program that they took you out of regular class because you were too far ahead of all the other
those are
people.
the kids that could be excelling in math and science though. You see, and they're
I
like,
was
well,
already excelling in
okay,
math and science. They
right,
couldn't teach
but
me for regular class. So they
I'm
just took
just
me out and said, okay, let's learn about spiders
yeah, but I
and
guarantee you there
dinosaurs
was
and
more
bubbles.
math and science to teach you. They're like, oh, you're gifted. Why don't we let you make up dinosaurs instead of teaching you about, actual science?
No, I was the weird kid in 6th grade who wanted to stay in during recess time to do math problems on the chalkboard. So it was
Oh,
fine.
honey. Oh,
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah,
now you're
that
a
was
lawyer
that
and do
kid.
no math at all.
Yeah, that's not true. The other day I did a present value calculation, which was fun.
That's fun. Did you do a little discount? Well, I guess you don't do discounted cash flow, but you just took the interest rate and went backwards?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Ugh.
Used the rate that the people were offering us, and then like, all right, let me do my own calculation to see how right they are.
Yeah,
Well, that was a little math. I used Excel for most of it, so I didn't actually
I
have
was
to do the
gonna say,
math.
you just gotta have a good spreadsheet and you're good.
You just gotta know what to type in.
Yep.
All those teachers in like high school and who always said, "Well, you're not gonna have a calculator on you when you in the real world."
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little something about smartphones.
I wonder what they tell kids now.
Get
Like
off
when they're,
Snapchat. Get off TikTok.
well, yeah, but it's I don't even know how that works. I can't
Uh,
imagine being a teacher now because every single kid has a phone and I feel like you can't do anything about it. In real life, you don't need to memorize anything. I mean, there's some things you should obviously be able to do in your head, but
yeah. Smartphones have actually made us dumber, I think. Like, I
they've
don't know
made
any phone number on top of my head.
they've made us dumber assuming we don't have the phone, but I think they've made me combined with a smartphone, which is my state of being 95% of the time, is smarter than the me if I didn't have my phone and just
That's
learned
true.
everything.
Yeah, and I don't really like think there's going to be any catastrophe anytime soon that knocks out smartphones. I hope.
I think we're closer today than we've been at any other point.
That's probably true, but I still
Frankly.
don't think we're there.
No, I don't think we're there either,
I don't
but we're
think we're there.
we're much closer than we used to be. That's for darn sure.
That's probably true. As long as we keep the ones we have in tip-top shape, and I mean, we might not have the internet, but we have stuff.
Yeah, that's what I think it's more about like the power grid going down and the Wi-Fi and stuff going down. I think Wi-Fi
Yeah,
goes down and if the power grid goes down, you can't plug your phone in.
and the cell towers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's an issue, but
happy
that's a whole
thoughts.
other issue.
Happy thoughts.
A whole-
That is not the issue for today. The issue for today is dinosaurs in Jurassic World, which I realize is very misnamed because of the dinosaurs featured in the movie. I think only the Brachiosaurus was actually in the Jurassic era.
Mm-hmm.
I think T-Rex and Triceratops were in the Cretaceous period.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the raptors were, so they really probably should just call it Mesozoic Park or something like that.
That's
Really,
way too
that
more
doesn't
difficult. Yeah.
roll off the tongue as easily.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park has like a to it.
That's solid.
There's something about the J letter, I think. It's really
Yeah, and the emphasis is on is the emphasis on the first syllable? I think it is Jurassic. Yeah.
yeah,
So that's helpful.
yeah.
That's helpful. This is the type of riveting conversation you can expect to find. Is the emphasis on the first syllable?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. If you're listening to this, don't
Bless your heart.
down us for that. Bless your heart. Give us a 5-star. Somebody gave us a 1-star already, which I'm not mad about it. You listened to it.
The fact that even if they didn't listen to it, the fact that anybody went through the trouble of even clicking the stars, but like that's impressive. I have low expectations.
Somebody cared enough to not like us.
Exactly. You have to care to not like somebody. You have to be so moved.
All notice is good notice.
Yep.
Yeah, but you did listen to us. You have heard of us, haven't you? Making waves. Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. So what do you think about the ethics of the entire thing? Because I think that was probably the big theme that most of these movies go through. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's why I liken it to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Because like her whole theme is like man shouldn't play God and you shouldn't create life because it's not man's place and that your creation could turn on you, blah blah blah, that thing, and that theme carries over into these movies, and that's the
Yeah.
whole issue that Grant and Sattler and Malcolm had with the park. Like you're playing God, you're bringing forth creatures that are millions and millions of years old, and you're putting them in a world that's unrecognizable from their own day. Although I don't know why that would matter because they don't have any memory of that anyway. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, maybe this is a more selfish take. It's less about how dare you play God or how dare you bring dinosaurs back and put them in a weird place. It's more there's no possible way you know how this is going to turn out. You have no idea how this dinosaur is going to react to anything. You don't know how aggressive they are. You don't know a thing about them. And so like there's so many ways that it could go wrong. And for what? You immediately commercialized it. It'd be one thing if you were bringing them back for some like altruistic reason, but
To study them, maybe.
yeah, but it's like it's a purely commercialized thing. And they touch on it in the movie. He's like, yeah, you just slapped it on a lunchbox and thought it was fine. You had no idea what was going to happen. But it just seems like a horrific idea. Why do you think this makes any sense at all?
Oh yeah, it's a terrible idea.
Right, without there being some overarching reason why. It's one thing to say we've never done a heart transplant before, but we're going to try it because this person's going to die anyway. It's another thing to say we're going to grow dinosaurs in a lab.
Yeah, it's one thing to say like let's grow a clone pancreas in this given or something.
Right.
And
what movie is that from?
that's
from a movie. Okay, yes, okay. I was gonna say I'm like that's definitely from. That's a pop culture reference.
Why else would you throw a pancreas on a gibbon?
Oh yes.
Great show. Anyway, yeah, but that's different than bringing forth an entire species. And I realize we do that all the time with like plants and stuff. We create, bioengineered food and stuff, which I know people have ethical issues with too. But I'm like, most of that stuff allows us to feed the world. So
right,
if you back off a little bit,
well,
maybe back off a little bit.
The other thing too is they don't tell you in the movie enough of the backstory. Like how long have they been doing this research? Did they start out with it would be one thing if they said we came up with this idea 50 years ago and we started with a tiny vegetarian asaurus thing and everything was fine. So and they eventually worked their way up and now things are going awry because they've taken it too far. But that's not the sense you get. You get the sense they've just stumbled upon this stuff and hit the gas and then immediately ended up in this terrible situation. Like, I don't think it's a terrible, like, let's say we figured out how to do this today. I don't think I would be incredibly opposed to trying it with, one dinosaur and see what happens. And then you kind of build from there.
Okay, but the modern discovery of DNA was just in the 1950s. You haven't even studied DNA enough at this point to be able to understand. We're not in the 90s. We're not using DNA in crime scenes yet. So there's no way you have enough understanding of any type of DNA to do this.
Yeah, and it's not even just the DNA. It's just the whole concept of.
Yeah, but I'm saying you couldn't have started.
Right, you couldn't have started a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, because DNA wasn't really a thing. I mean, it was in its infancy, but we didn't know enough about it to extract it from mosquitoes.
Yeah.
It's also kind of weird, but whatever.
I mean, I can't think of a better theory for how it would happen.
I mean, we have to get dinosaurs in the movie somehow. It makes the most sense than anything else.
Right. Like they start with the idea of, okay, there are dinosaurs, and then you have to work your way backwards into what's the most likely way we would make this happen. And again, I think it's an incredibly creative.
Oh, I agree.
Theoretically possible. Yeah.
I agree. It's the only way you could do it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe who knows, but it's plausible to somebody who has no idea what's going on. So.
Which is your general audience.
Yeah.
You're not really aiming your movie at genetic scientists, so you're probably good there. And if you are, you probably should change your audience a little bit, to be more general, make more money. I mean, y'all made a lot of money, so.
It also seems like I'd be curious to know how many people would actually want to go to the park. Again, it's a cool concept, but you have to know that it's risky. That's the other thing too. The first thing I thought of, I was like, there's going to be an crazy waiver when you buy your ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Not that completely insulates you from liability, but I can't imagine many people would want to go because you're going to have to sign something that no one's going to read. So I guess it's not a big deal. But
well, the lawyer was all like, "Well, aim it at the super rich, and super rich people are crazy." So
that's
I feel like I can say that. Nobody's gonna fault me for that. Even the super rich people were like, yeah, we crazy.
They didn't put enough work into security. Like they were like, oh, we're just gonna have an electrified fence. Like that's
Yeah, no.
all you're gonna do?
They did a better job of that in Jurassic World. It's probably why the park got up and running a little bit.
Right. There were like enclosures besides just electrocuted fences.
Yeah, probably need some like really strong bulletproof glass or something. Like thick, like the things you put in like a tank for a whale when they're swimming in there and you think, oh, maybe they'll bump into it.
The thing is, there's always going to be the element of human error. No matter how perfect something is, humans are always going to screw it up somehow at some point. Like even if you look at like nuclear power plants, and I realize they've gotten better since Chernobyl, but there's like the actual physics is supposed to prevent it from melting down. It's not even like, oh, we have this containment thing. It's like, no, like the actual physics of the reaction, it's impossible for it to blow up because the physics simply won't allow it. And they still screwed that up. They like screwed up physics in order to blow the thing up. Like
the Chernobyl didn't blow up. It just kind of
no. I mean, there was an explosion.
A radiation leak, right?
No, there was an explosion.
I don't remember Chernobyl. I mean,
have you not seen the HBO series?
No, I haven't.
It's worth watching. It's very, very good. It's very good.
To be honest, for a while I didn't know what it was about because I know what Chernobyl is. I don't have an occasion to see Chernobyl spelled out very often. Mm-hmm. And I was like, sure, but no, what is that?
The way they explain in the show how the physics works, and like basically what happens is that the more reactive it gets, the more it produces some chemical or something, and that chemical then cools the reaction down. And so like the physics, it's what keeps it from getting out of control.
Well, then how did it explode in Chernobyl?
So there are certain mechanisms like safeguards that they have these, I don't even know what they call them. They're like, basically they have these rods that go into the core if like if there's like they need to shut it down immediately, they have these rods that go into the core that are like lead or something that immediately shuts down the reaction.
Yeah.
To shut down the reaction faster. So they're injecting something into the reaction that isn't controlled within the system.
Right.
But what they did in the Soviet Union is that whatever those sticks were made out of were really expensive. So the Soviets covered them in lead because it was less expensive, or like graphite instead of lead. And apparently graphite speeds up reactions and doesn't.
Okay, yeah, but are any of us surprised that the Soviets screwed something up?
Right, but the idea is that it was cheap. All they did was make the tips out of graphite instead of but because the tips were the first thing that went in, it sped up the reaction. There was actually an explosion. People just didn't know. And so they did something to save money and they had no idea. And then it was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I feel like there should have been a scientist that said, hey, maybe we should just use lead because that definitely works.
Yeah, they didn't know. So, but that's my point, is that you don't know what you don't know. And so you're going to make mistakes that you're going to figure out later.
But you do know what you do know.
Yeah, but they didn't know that what they did was going to cause an explosion. They fully believed that it was physically impossible for the reactor to explode, and it exploded, and the scientists were all like, this couldn't have exploded, you have to be lying, and they didn't believe it until they saw it, and then they were like, how could this possibly happen?
This is why they lost the Cold War and the race to the moon.
But even the Americans, like, nobody knew that what they did was, I mean, they knew that it wasn't standard, but they didn't know that it was, there was a confluence of issues. That was just one of them. But point is, you don't know what you don't know, and that's the issue.
True.
Dinosaurs too.
You don't know nothing about dinosaurs except what the bones look like, and even then, we put them together wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't know where that bone goes. Maybe the dinosaur had a weird protrusion on his head. You don't know that. We don't see pictures. Only pictures we got are the ones you drew. You might as well have found a dinosaur unicorn. You don't even know it.
Dinosaur unicorn.
You don't know. That's basically what a triceratops is, right? Except for, I guess it's got 2 horns and.
I guess it. Well, I guess it's got. Yeah.
Well,
but
two on its head and then one like a rhinoceros.
Yeah.
It's basically a rhinoceros with 2 horns.
Yeah.
Doesn't rhinoceros don't they have one?
It'd be better to just say a rhinoceros is essentially a unicorn. I mean, it really is.
Well, it could be.
I mean, it's the closest thing we got, I think. I don't think we compare rhinoceroses to unicorns enough.
I feel like rhinoceros get a bad rap. I feel like we should do that. From now on, a rhinoceros in my mind is a unicorn until somebody proves me why it's not a unicorn.
Yeah, we're not giving that enough attention. Just one of the many things.
We don't even know about our own animals. How are we not going to know about dinosaurs? Let's not bring them back. It's a bad idea. Why don't you go explore the sea? I'm sure there's like some crazy stuff down there. There might even be a dinosaur. You don't even know.
Exactly.
Very deep.
It is amazing.
Waters go deep. How do the two, Dr. Grant and Dr. Saffron? No.
Sattler.
Sattler. How do they not have ever encountered chaos theory in all of their academic career? Like, I knew what chaos theory was, and I didn't even get a PhD. I'm not a scientist.
I mean, I wasn't. I mean, the name kind of gives it away what it is, but yeah. I mean, she's a botanist. I don't know. I don't know what the
abilities. Like, I feel like you should know.
The course
you did math in your science classes. I know you did that. And chaos theory is like a big part of like biology, right?
I have no idea.
A lot of like stuff just happens because of chaos. I don't know.
Unpredictable.
I learned that as a engineering student. You should have learned that as a PhD in some sort of science area.
So it's also unclear in the movie whether this is another reason why I feel like it's unclear that the two of them are actually in a relationship, because when Dr. Malcolm, I don't know if he's a doctor or not, but we're going to call him Dr. Malcolm, is explaining chaos theory to Dr. Sattler, and he's like holding her hand and rubbing it, there's like a very clear flirtation going on, and she's not hiding it despite the fact that Grant is sitting right there.
See, I felt like that was more of a flirtation on his part, and she just wasn't stopping it.
Well, that's my point. Like, it was very much, she came across to me as if she was single, as if she was like, all right, you can tell me about the hair on my hand.
Well, maybe she's trying to make him jealous. Maybe she's like, hey, maybe you should
That's
bring
not a healthy relationship.
I'm sure the dinosaurs brought them together. Dinosaurs have a remarkable ability to prevent divorces and breakups. We've learned this throughout the Jurassic Park franchise.
Okay, I will say, are Dr. Grant and Dr. Sattler couples? Like the first, what's it called? The first search on Google.
What's the answer?
So they're both in Jurassic World 3, so apparently we're going to learn more about this.
Jurassic World 3 is like when the dinosaurs like run around wild in like civilization, right?
Yes. So according to some random website, they were together in Jurassic Park. They break up in the third Jurassic, whatever it's called. He marries someone else.
Oops.
So the kid that she's with in the third Jurassic Park, the first trilogy, is not his kid. And apparently we get more information in the next movie.
That's awkward. Well, now I don't want her to have divorced this guy, because that's just sad for the kid.
Well, now Reddit is telling me that they weren't in a relationship. But this is Reddit, so anybody can post anything they want.
That's true.
There's
everything you read on the internet.
There's significant confusion on the internet as to whether or not they're a couple. So
it's ambiguous.
It's very ambiguous.
Open to interpretation.
That's the thing. If you're in a romantic relationship with somebody and you just undergo serious trauma, I feel like there would just be more.
Cuddling? Like, hey, we almost died. Let's kiss. Mwah.
But there just be more of a manifestation of your feelings for each other than just,
I don't know. I've never been in a relationship while simultaneously being attacked by dinosaurs. So
nor have I. So according to Reddit, it says, seeing that they were separated in the third movie prompted me to Google the first movie, and there's debate as to whether or not they were ever a couple in the first place. There's some compelling evidence to suggest perhaps they weren't. Spielberg apparently removed all references where Ellie called Alan honey, and he also removed a scene where they kiss. So this is Steven Spielberg's doing, according to this random person on the internet.
Okay, well, I will say that calling somebody honey does not necessarily denote a romantic relationship.
I know. I call grown men that way too much.
Oh, honey, no.
I know. Or, yeah, I say honey and sweet. Like, you shouldn't call a grown man honey in that context, but yeah.
I don't know. It's fine when you have a southern accent. It's fine.
Oh, honey. Apparently, in the book, they're not a couple, and she's married to somebody else. Interesting.
I'm okay with that, because that means that the first movie is great and it has no romantic subplot, and I love that. Unless you count Ian with himself. That man definitely loves the sound of his own voice.
Yes, he does. I mean, he talks to himself at least like 3 different times in the movie. So it's a coping mechanism for the fact that he thinks he's going to die.
Can we get back to the lawyer running into the bathroom? Why? At first I thought, oh, maybe he really does have to use the bathroom, which would be an understandable reaction to a giant T-Rex. I mean, I might shit myself too.
But I think he would have been safe. So if he's in an enclosed space, the T-Rex isn't going to know you're in there. The only reason why the T-Rex found him is because it knocked the building over. But had the building stayed intact, I don't think he would have gotten eaten.
And had he stayed in the car, the kids probably would have dug out the flashlight instead of slinging it everywhere. He was like, "Hey, knock it off."
I mean, I guess if I were in a car, I mean, it's hard to tell because the animal would have to be really big. But I would definitely feel more secure in a building than a car. So like I understand that concept.
The building was made of like straw though.
Well, the roof was a thatched roof, but
I'm pretty sure it was a thatched building, wasn't it?
I think it was probably some like when you go to like the animal kingdom, like it's meant to look like a but it's a building.
It wasn't a very sturdy building. It came down real quick.
But I don't think he ran in there thinking like this building will protect me if the dinosaur comes in the building. I think the idea is the dinosaur can't see me if I'm in the building, which makes sense.
The dinosaur can't see you in the car if you're like scrunched down and like kind of blending with the seat, which you couldn't do because
but he didn't know
god awful suit.
He didn't know the T-Rex couldn't see you if you sat still. And the car had like a glass roof and glass
That's true.
windows and
But still you left the kids there. They weren't his kids though.
I understand.
These are not my kids. I don't know these kids. I just met them. Why do I have responsibility? Why are they in the car with just me?
What he did wasn't insane. I understand the impulse, but yeah.
Why is the paleontologist more heroic than paleontologist? That's the right word, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what Ross was in Friends. So basically, you're having Ross from Friends being more heroic than a lawyer, and I'm like, well, that just says something about lawyers, doesn't it?
I mean, I think they made him out to be, the cowardly, just cares about money, doesn't care about anything else.
Although he wasn't an investor in the park himself. He was the attorney for the investors. He wasn't getting rich from the deal. He was getting his fee, and that was it. He was always going to get his fee.
Yeah, but if he's in bed with the investors, the better the investors do, like it's all gonna work out well.
I have no idea how that works.
It's unclear, but the idea is like this is gonna go. Basically, he's like, there's money to be made here. There's a lot of money to be made here for my clients.
There's also a lot of money to be lost though.
There is if it goes poorly, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure the insurance for a place like that would be off the charts. How do you insure a park like that? And you gotta have insurance. Like I mean, just a roller coaster alone is probably dangerous. Add a T-Rex, add a dinosaur with really sharp teeth that's as big as the roller coaster. It's just a bad idea.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what the insurance rates are for just like a zoo, and how they evaluate risk based on the different animals you have and the types of enclosures and like all that. I'm sure there's like a lot of analysis to be done about. You have 8 tigers and 2 lions and 15 elephants, and therefore your insurance premium is X. Somebody has a spreadsheet, I bet.
I guess we're probably at a point where we can start wrapping things up. Siobhan, you want to start us out on what did you like, what would you change, and what did you learn?
I'm going to take this in reverse order. So I learned that amber is just fossilized tree sap. I think that's interesting. I think just the general premise is super cool. Like that's what I like. Just the concept is genius and creative, and the movie is just good and it holds up after 30 years, and it's able to withstand 6 additional movies. And it's amazing because there really are no other dinosaur franchises, because Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, they did such a good job that they've completely monopolized the space. Which is amazing.
You think there'd be a knockoff? You think there'd be a knockoff?
Oh, you think there'd be a million knockoffs? Because the concept is...
I would like to interject here and put forth The Land Before Time.
Okay, but that's animated, separate category. But you think there'd be a bunch.
But it's still a great dinosaur franchise.
It is. But think about, like, shark movies. Like, there's a bunch of shark movies.
Other than Jaws and Sharknado, I can't think of one.
There's, like, Into the Deep or something. Isn't there something called, like... There's a decent number.
Is like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea a shark movie?
I don't think so. I think that's more about like exploring things.
I
have no idea.
I'm not really interested in shark movies. I haven't even seen Jaws.
But it's just because dinosaurs are such a thing, and there's so many places you could take it, and it's just interesting that Jurassic Park is really just monopolized. And
they did a good job. Steven Spielberg, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
You did a good job, sir. Not that you need our validation, but
yes, exactly.
You did pretty good for yourself.
What did I not like?
Well, what would you change? You don't have to
what would I change? It's a really good movie. Maybe I wouldn't make the lawyer be such a... I feel like they just painted him in a very weird way. Yeah, they They just painted him in such a weird light that.
Stop making lawyers stereotypically bad guys or just greedy, cowardly people. Just stop.
Well, he didn't even need to be in the movie at all.
Well,
Well,
the whole inciting incident, as we have discussed, was the lawsuit. So I understand the lawyer being there.
but
The
he didn't
lawyer
need
was
to be
the
there.
lawyer was the impetus to bring the scientist in, and the lawyer was there to get the scientist's opinion on the part. So I got why he was there. He was doing due diligence. I got it.
But they didn't even need it. Like that whole like I get that that's the premise, but I mean this goes back to the very beginning. Like when you summarize it, you started with the lawyer thing, and like I think the story would have been just fine if they were like, we're opening this park and our insurers want to make sure that it's safe, so we're going to bring people in to just check it out and give us feedback. Or they don't even need to have the insurance angle. They could just be like, we wanted to,
I appreciated that though. I appreciated that they actually thought through a lot of things in the movie. I feel like it would be very easy to make this movie just to be like, oh my god, dinosaurs, yay! But they actually made a very intelligent movie, and they put dinosaurs in it, and it's great.
Yeah. So what about you? Like, dislike? What did you learn?
Okay, well, you took what I would change, so thank you for that. I have to think another one. What did I like? I mean, dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. I loved dinosaurs as a kid. I don't know much about them now. I feel like I've moved away from that area of my life. Never really thought about being a paleontologist ever. So, yeah, dinosaurs are cool. Who doesn't like dinosaurs? Other than the kids in this movie who got traumatized by the dinosaurs. What would I change other than the lawyer being a stereotypical Hollywood lawyer? Well, I guess I would make the relationship or non-relationship between Grant and Sattler a little more clear, just so that we're clear.
Just so
I don't want to know. I get that we're not supposed to focus on that a little bit because dinosaurs, they're there and trying to kill people. But I feel like it's just a human element. You just want to know.
Right.
Also, I'm gossipy and I like to know. So
right.
Just tell me one way or the other. I don't care either way. Just let me know. And what did I learn? I learned too. Like I feel like our brains were the same on this movie. So the Amber thing. What did I learn? I learned that in the 90s they apparently made full-on suits with shorts. Because that was an average, everyday thing to wear.
Sometimes you got to wear a suit and it's hot outside.
That's true. That's when you just don't wear a suit. Or wear a linen suit instead. Like a Panama brimmed hat would be great. What you should do. Jungly, right?
Jungly, yes.
So yeah, that was Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World. Hope y'all enjoyed our conversation. Next week we will be doing A League of Our Own, which is one of my favorite all-time sports movies ever.
A League of Their Own.
What did I say?
Of our own. But I like how you made it personal. Because you're a woman.
I really relate to this movie a lot.
You want your own league. Yeah, that's fair.
A League of Their Own. It's a great movie. Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Rosie O'Donnell, Madonna. It's a great cast. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Join us then. Please tune in. We are on Apple Podcast and Google Podcast under Classic Movie Rewind. Please subscribe. Give us a 5-star review. Let us know you're listening. Let us know if there's something you think doesn't work in these things. I mean, we're just trying to figure out what we're doing. All of our backlog of episodes will be on our YouTube channel, and so will our new ones. That's Classic Movie Rewind. And those videos will have fun pictures from the movies, and then just fun general pictures of wine and vineyards that me and Siobhan have gone through the years. There won't be any pictures of either of us, but Siobhan wants to remain anonymous because she doesn't want her clients to know she does this stupid podcast with me. And I have a face made for radio. So there you go. But yeah, that's where you can find us. Feel free to subscribe, like us, do whatever you do to show that you like us. If you don't like us, you don't have to do anything. Just not let us know. Why ruin our self-esteem? That's just mean. But we'll see you next week, or we won't see you, but you'll hear us next week. Bye.
See ya.